Joker Boxing. I'm here with eBoxing News, Stuart Little, and Errol Jarrett. And we're going to talk about Sakio Bika versus Anthony Dirrell. eBoxing News, what are your thoughts on this fight?
I think it's actually not too bad a fight, you know. Sakio Bika's never in a shit fight. Anthony Dirrell doesn't fight like his namesake. So, yeah, I think it's all right. Yeah, probably one of the better fights of the night.
All right, I got to pause you there. What do you got against the Dirrell brothers, man? What do you got against Andre Dirrell?
No, I've not got anything against the brothers. This one's not too bad. The other one is just a bit too negative for my liking. His best fight was against Abraham, but we all know he took a dive in that fight. When I say took a dive, literally as in football connotation, he rolled around the floor pretending to be unconscious when he wasn't.
It was an Oscar performance.
Yeah, more like an Emmy.
I hear you. I know Andre Dirrell is not too much of a liked guy in the UK too much. Stuart, what do you think of this fight, Sakio Bika versus Anthony Dirrell?
Yeah, it's not too bad of a fight, to be honest with you. Like I said, Bika, he's in good fights, and you know he's going to come to win. Dirrell looks quite a good boxer, what I've seen of him, quite slick and that lot. You know, as long as he hasn't got his brother's heart, then it should be a good fight.
All right, let's get EJ to bring some unbiasedness to this panel. EJ, what do you think of this fight, my friend? Sakio Bika versus Anthony Dirrell. What do you think?
On this card, it's probably the most exciting fight on the card. You've basically got a slugger versus a boxer. A power boxer. I mean, power boxer. A boxer who you know, he hits pretty hard, hits fairly hard. Stylistically, they match up fairly well. Sakio Bika's long, hard road to get to this title. Long, hard. You know what I mean? How many title shots been robbed, and then he's, you know what I mean? He's got the belt now, and this is his first defense. He doesn't want to give it up. And obviously, Anthony Dirrell, this is for Anthony Dirrell to make his name. So this is going to be a really good fight, and they're really going to give it out. I think Sakio Bika will probably pull it out, man. I think he might just pull it out. I know he's a bit long in the tooth at the minute, but Anthony Dirrell is a bit long in the tooth for him. I mean, his career's been long burning as well. It took him long to get to this point as well. But I think Sakio Bika, just on the resume of the fighters he's been against, I think, I obviously I shouldn't be predicting right now, but I just think it's going to be a really good fight. So I should leave it as that. It's a good fight. Instead of predicting, it's going to be a good fight. So it should be a good fight.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I think it is going to be a good fight. I think it might just be the most exciting fight on the card. I mean, I'm not actually a big fan of Sakio Bika. I think his style is pretty ugly, but I agree with you that he's a guy who's very gritty, and he's never been in a boring fight. You know, Mark has a good point. He's never been in a boring fight. You know, he puts on pretty exciting fights. You know, he brings an interesting dynamic to the fight. And Anthony Dirrell, man, I really like Anthony Dirrell. He's got good power, decent boxing ability. I don't think he's as good boxing-wise as his brother is, but I think he has more power than Andre Dirrell does. So that's definitely going to be something that he's going to need to keep Sakio Bika at bay. So while we're talking about power, let's go ahead and talk about the advantages. Who do you give the boxing edge to, the power edge to, and the speed edge to? eBoxing News.
I think I give every single one of these to Anthony Dirrell. Definitely the power. And he punches a lot more, heavier than his brother does. You know, no two ways about that. He's such a good fighter. This guy, he's got good body shots, works head and body. You know, he's not afraid to get in there, get stuck in. I like that. You know, I like the guy. He's good boxer, good puncher. What's the dislike? You know, Sakio Bika, what does he have? He's got experience. He's going to have the experience, but he's a bit longer in the tooth, like Errol said. And even in his last fight against Perban, I don't think he did too well in that fight. Maybe the time is right for Dirrell to, you know, come along and take the title, and then he can talk about who he wants to fight. That's what I think.
Good points, man. Good points. Stuart, what do you think?
Yeah, Anthony Dirrell's definitely got the power advantage and the speed. He's definitely a better boxer. Sakio Bika can be quite sloppy sometimes, and he's very vulnerable to getting caught. I think Dirrell has the assets and all them, to be honest with you, and I'm looking forward to it.
Sounds good. Errol?
Yeah, man, I think Sakio Bika, like, if you think about chin, right, this is where I think chin. Anthony Dirrell, he's never been cleanly hit with a guy, and Sakio can hit. I'm not saying he is as hard as Anthony, but he can hit, and his chin's proven. Man, he's never been stopped. Well, maybe he has been stopped, but he's lost on points, but he's proven to me the proven caliber fighter. I know he didn't really look good in his last performance, but he's always fighting world-class operators. all the time, and this is first time Anthony Jones really stepped up to this level. I think gonna be a good fight, and I just think Sakio Bika has got a bit too much for him. Even though he is long in the tooth, I think the beating he's gonna be a great fight, and you know he's gonna be there to hit Anthony Jones. You can see how he's gonna be able to take these punches. He may be able to hit, but Sakio Bika took the hardest punches from people in the division. Carl Froch, Andre Ward, he took all them guys. Andre Ward said that was one of his hardest fights ever. So you know what I mean. If the Sakio Bika comes in there and he's hard, just comes in determined, you know, Anthony Jones gonna be in trouble. Like them guys, them Dirrell guys, brothers, they don't like to be hit too much, man. They don't like to be touched, you know. So we're seeing it.
Yeah, I think this fight is such an interesting fight, man. It's another one of these fights on this card that's very hard to call, because we don't know which guy is going to show up. Once again, Sakio Bika, he's a guy who I've seen him come in pretty flat for some performances. And then obviously we've seen Sakio Bika at his best. He's really strong on the inside. Very strong guy. You know, I wouldn't say he's like a power puncher or anything like that, but he does hit hard, and he's strong. He can move you around. He can throw you around. I mean, even a guy like Andre Ward, like you said, who's very strong on the inside, he kind of had his difficulties with Sakio Bika. So, yeah, man, this is going to be an interesting fight. As far as the advantages goes, the other advantages, I could see Anthony Dirrell having, you know, the boxing advantage, because Sakio Bika has never really been a tremendous boxer. That's not what he does well. He's kind of more of a bully in there. So yeah, I give that edge to Anthony Dirrell. The only thing though, I think speed, having a lot more speed in this fight would help Anthony Dirrell. And I don't know, I'm not convinced that he's that fast from what I've seen of him. I know he does have power, he has well-placed shots, but I just don't know if he has the kind of speed that he might need to keep a guy like Bika off of him, who's going to be just relentlessly coming forward if he fights like the Sakio Bika that we all know. So without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get into our predictions for this fight. eBoxing News, what do you think?
Well, I'm thinking Dirrell wins this fight by a close points decision.
Very interesting, man. So you're going with the underdog here, Anthony Dirrell?
Underdog, yeah. Well, Anthony Dirrell's going to win. I'm not sure if he's the underdog or not. I've not checked yet. But yeah, I would say you'd win this fight.
Very interesting, very interesting. Stuart, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Anthony Dirrell on points. I think Bika is a bit long in the tooth, and he didn't look that great his last fight. I think the age and the walls are catching up on him, and even if Bika wins the fight in most people's mind, I still think he'll get robbed. I still think, you know, it's on the wall that Anthony Dirrell is going to be the next champion, and Sakio Bika is going to have to knock him out to retain that title.
Yeah, you never know, man.
So yeah, Dirrell points win.
All right, sounds good. So we got 2 for Anthony Dirrell. Errol Jarrett, what do you think?
I just think Sakio Bika's got too much, man. You know, I'm looking on the guy's resume on Anthony Dirrell. He's just inactivity. You know, sometime in 2006 took a year layoff and here and there. He's not as active as that. And in his resume, he hasn't fought anyone. The only guy, the notable guy for what I see is Anthony Hamshaw. You know, and Anthony Hamshaw was shot. You know, he hasn't fought anyone. This is the first time him stepping up to the level. Yeah, he's getting his title shot, and it may be the right time for him. But I just think Sakio Bika, who took shots from Lucien Butte, from Andre Ward, you know, from these guys are tough. I think he's the guy, man. He's the guy. I think he's the guy. I think and the thing is, most of the time, you gotta understand, most of the time he's never been stopped. He goes 12 rounds with these guys. You know what I mean? So we're talking about Anthony Dirrell's power, but against the elite fighters, we don't know what his power's like, but we know what Sakio Bika,
and we don't know what his heart's like either. That's my only concern with Anthony Dirrell. He's obviously got the tools, but when he's getting taken to deep waters, what's he going to react? If he's anything like his brother, then it's not going to look well for him.
Yeah, we're going to find out in this fight. We're definitely going to find out in this fight. Errol, you got any more points that you were trying to make?
Yeah, like what I'm saying is that, you know, he hasn't been proven right now. So I say Sakio Bika all day. You know, he worked so hard to get to this title shot. You know, he's Sakio Bika. He's long in the tooth right now, but I just think the old dog is going to have too much. He's 34 years old. Yeah, so you know what I mean. He's old and he's been around forever. Like a guy like what's his name again, Archie Moore. He's been around in there, but I think he does have a bit more. You know what I mean? He might surprise people. So I'm gonna go by knockout. I think Anthony Dirrell's gonna get exposed at this level, because I don't know why a guy in his thing hasn't fought no notable names on his career. You know what I mean? He's been looked after. and now he thinks he's going into Sakio Bika, who's going to be weaker, and he's not easy guy to lose, man, to lose against. So I think he'll win, but I think Sakio Bika will win inside the distance. I can't really say which round, but if I was to, I'd probably say round 8. Danny Dirrell he's just going to say, nah, I've had enough cuts, or him getting knocked down too many times and stuff like that. So I got Sakio Bika winning by knockout.
All right, good stuff. Dude, that's definitely going to be a tough fight, man. It's going to be a tough fight. And this is a very hard fight for me to predict. For me, I hope that Mark and Stewart are right on this, and I hope Anthony does pull it out. But once again, for this fight, I'm not going to go with my gut. I'm actually going to go with my mind, and my mind tells me that Bika is going to have a little bit too much for him. But I actually hope I'm wrong, and I hope that Anthony does actually pull this out, because of the fact that there's going to be more exciting fights on the line for Anthony Dirrell if he can get this win. If he gets this win, he's definitely going to have some big fights on the table, and we'll talk about that, in a little bit. But I just feel like Bika's too seasoned, like Errol said, man. I think he's too seasoned. He's been in there at the higher level. He's taken punches from guys who hit probably arguably as hard, if not harder, than Anthony Dirrell. The big thing Anthony has going for him is that he is kind of a mystery, okay? We don't know how he's going to perform on this level, and neither does Bika. So, sure, he can go in there and have his George Groves moment, and it's very possible that he comes in here and says, hey, I've arrived. I'm Anthony Dirrell. I'm here. And he shows what he can do to a world-class opponent. It's very possible that happens. But I don't know. In this case, man, I'm going with Sakio Bika. I think it's going to be a very rough and tough fight. And I think it's going to be hard for Anthony Dirrell to stay in there. I think Bika takes him in the late rounds. I'm going to go 10th round TKO for me. Moving forward, let's go ahead and get into something that I started talking about. Moving forward, what would you like to see from the winner of this fight? eBoxing News.
Yeah, I think the only thing that makes sense is the winner of this fight to fight Andre Ward, really. There'll be other people out there, maybe he'd like to fight James DeGale for what he would think would be an easy defence. If that's the case, is a whole nother matter. Perban might be sniffing around for a world title shot again. Maybe a rematch. It really depends on the method of victory and how clinical it is, really. Mm-hmm. That's my thoughts.
Good points. Stuart, what do you think, man? What would you like to see from the winner of this fight?
Depends who wins the fight. I mean, I honestly think that Bika's the one everyone's going after. That's the title everyone wants. I mean, don't be surprised if George Groves gets a shot if he wins. DeGale is on that WBC route. I think he's definitely going to get a shot. So, yeah, them sort of fights. Anthony Dirrell, if he wins, then it could go a different direction altogether, than to the promoters, because I can't see him taking massive fights straight away. I think they'll try and build his name. George Groves, James DeGale, I think will have the winner of this fight. Sorry, if it's Sakio Bika. If it's Anthony Dirrell, then it could be anyone. I'm not sure who fight next.
Well, those are really good points. Really good points by both of you guys. EJ, what do you think?
I think the winner, like Sakio Bika, I think he should fight Carl Froch. I think it's a good fight for him. I think Carl Froch right now, if you're going to fight Carl Froch, I think it's the best time for him. And definitely for Carl Froch, for Sakio Bika to get all the belts in the division, you have a bigger bargaining chip. You bring more to the table to be the undisputed. Even Andre Ward was named. He's named the guy of the division. To be the undisputed super middleweight champion is great in your resume. So I'd like to see the winner, whoever the winner is, to fight Carl Froch. Either one. They have to fight Carl Froch. Big money, come to England, unify all the belts. It'd be great.
See, the problem with Froch, Errol, the problem with Froch, I think HBO have done a deal with Eddie Hearn where he comes to America and he fights one of their fighters. That's why I didn't put him in the equation. I just think HBO have got plans for Carl Froch, and Sakio Bika is definitely not one of them.
Well, at the minute, Carl Froch is going to be weighing up his options, and I'm sure HBO are going to put an offer to him as well, and obviously with Showtime as well, they're putting an offer to him. So, obviously Showtime they might put an offer to him as well. So we'll see what happens. But that's what I would like. I like to see undisputed champions in one weight class where you see a guy. Clearly, he's the number one guy in the division, regardless of anything. Andre Ward, I remember Mike Tyson had all the belts, and he had to fight Michael Spinks. you know, to just clean up this because it was like people just wanting to see it. But for Carl Froch or whoever wins all the belts in one division, you know, that's a big accomplishment. You know, it's not everyone. I can't remember the last time all the belts are unified anyway. I think the belts they need to. Carl Froch got 2 of the belts. Someone needs to go and fight Carl Froch for 3, and that's the money day. That's the, you know what I mean. That's the big.
I'd like Froch to take Stieglitz's belt off him. I'd like to see Stieglitz Froch. That'd be a cracking fight. But that won't happen.
Stieglitz is not the number 2 in the division, so Carl Froch is like.
No, but he's a champion. He's a champion though, and he's got a belt.
Yeah, but he's not got 2 belts. Like, and he's not in the belt he's got. Is not the one. The WBC, IBF, and WBA belts are the most recognized belts. So if you know if you got them 3 belts, you're the man. You get me? So that's the way. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the winner fight Carl Froch, regardless. Whoever wins that fight, even though I think Sakio Bika is gonna have too much, I'd like to see him fight Carl Froch, and Carl Froch would probably like to see that fight. And whoever wins that fight, they could retire happily. They could retire happily because after that, yeah, it's a hard road. James DeGale, George Groves. You know what I mean? There's hard fights after that, so that's where I'd like the winner to fight. A big payday, unify all the belts, and go out on their shield. You know what I mean? So that's what I'd like to see.
Good stuff. Yeah. For me, man, I think it all depends on who wins this fight. You know, like somebody said, I think that if Anthony wins, for me, I'd like to see if Anthony Dirrell wins. I'd like to see him fight Andre Ward. You know, I mean, I know that his team will probably want to do, like Stewart said, take the time with him and build him up. But, I mean, to me, Andre Ward is a guy he's in this division. He's stressed to find opponents right now, okay? So he's a guy who's trying to find opponents. We've already seen him fight Bika, so I'd rather not see Ward take that fight again. Let's see him fight Anthony Dirrell if he does get the win. Let's see him fight a fresh face. He never fought Andre Dirrell. It's a fight a lot of people always wanted to see and still want to see. So why not get to see him fight his brother? Next best thing. Also, other things on the table, I'd like to see either of these guys get in the ring with George Groves. I think it's just a tremendous fight stylistically. And then there's also the DeGale fight, which I think that either of these guys are a problem for James DeGale, in my opinion. But those are all good fights that are potentially on the table, man. So there's definitely going to be some big things potentially happening based on who wins this fight. So I'm really looking forward to this fight. Anthony Dirrell versus Sakio Bika. So, yeah, that's pretty much our thoughts on it. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up, guys. Leave us some comments and let us know what you think. You're going to want to go ahead and check out eBoxing News, Stuart Little, and Errol Jarrett for more boxing news, boxing videos, updates, and just more boxing talk. Leave us some comments and let us know what you think. Peace.